Podfast is back, 6 minutes, one guest, and no time to waste. Adam Canning, former professional rugby player and now commercial and operations director of the Barmy Army. Where, first of all, did this affinity with sport come from?
Just like any kid, I played every sport when I was a youngster. Basically spent my childhood down at Old Leamingtonians, our local rugby club, every Saturday and every Sunday, watching my dad play and watching the previous generations. Played football, played cricket as a kid, went to watch Aston Villa. You know, I wasn't playing at the very elite in the Premiership or anything like that, but I did have a couple of professional contracts. I played in Spain when it was a full-time job over there, and then coming back to England, playing for Coventry and a few clubs in the region.
And as I understand it, you were forced into retirement.
Yeah.
That must have been just dreadful.
Yeah, it was pretty low. It was pretty dark time for me, really. I had a concussion, really bad concussion when playing for Coventry, and I'd been on this kind of upward trajectory in my career where I was progressing up the leagues. But in the first game of the season, I basically got knocked out and didn't recover for 2 years. And I think the fact that I had to retire was kind of exacerbated by the fact that I also had these physical symptoms of not being able to exercise, headaches, migraines, lots of issues around what they call post-concussion syndrome. So it was like the double whammy of losing my career, but having that alongside in a pretty dark place because of the symptoms I had as well physically.
It must have been such a huge setback. How the hell did you get back up from there?
Yeah. Well, it was actually a gradual return in terms of physically being able to exercise or even socialise or kind of get back to a normal life. At one point I did think, like, what's happening here? Am I ever going to get back to living a normal life? It was that bad. But from a career perspective, I knew pretty quickly rugby was finished, and I thought if I want to stay involved in the sport, I'm going to get into coaching. So I kind of did my coaching badges and started a kind of parallel career coaching at a junior and amateur level.
I think that's really interesting because you've got that experience within the sports club at a high level. How do those lessons translate to a more corporate job like you're doing now, or what people in the building are doing?
Taking the learnings from the rugby environment, the main thing that I've been able to apply into the commercial world of sport is just do what you say you're going to do. Like, basically back your words up with action. I think in the professional rugby environment, it's dog eat dog, like I say, and you'll get found out pretty quickly if you don't deliver. You know, video reviews and post-match analysis. If you're not doing what you said you're going to do, or you're not doing your job to deliver the value for the team, you won't play the next week. Your teammates will call you out. It's a pretty straight talking environment. There's no like grey areas. It's black or white. People have really direct conversations.
Let's go into the Barmy Army, because I'm a huge fan of not only cricket, but the way that it's just such a huge community of like-minded people who can create such an amazing atmosphere, whether it's chucking down with rain or whether England are going to a record chase, whatever. But for the fan, what really makes a remarkable experience?
The bit that I think we pride ourselves on, that's a really key part of the Barmy Army experience, is the community you're brought into and the friendships and the people you're going to meet along the way. I think what we learned during COVID, and the fact we had 18 months as a world where we're basically locked up in our houses, we kind of remembered the importance of personal relationships and friendships and community, and actually like face-to-face engagement. So post-COVID, we've really tried to hammer home that the Barmy Army is a community where you can come and meet like-minded people and share the experiences with them. So we have 75-year-old single ladies that come on a tour because they're widowed or whatever it might be, and they're coming because they want to feel part of that group and meet new people, and they make these new friendships, and then on the next tour, wherever it might be, 3-6 months later, they're then travelling together because they've made a new friend, a new travelling partner, whatever it might be. So
for someone who is also trying to just navigate the world of work and complex relationships, how do you go about doing that and knowing what to say to each person to get each person to tick and the eventual final product?
You know, there's so many different suppliers in that journey that we are reliant upon.
Yeah.
So we've got to be really clear with our requirements, really clear with our contracting, really clear with our personal relationships, so that they feel as bought into our project as we do. So they don't want to let us down. Going back to my point at the start, they say they do what they said they're going to do from a service delivery and experience delivery. So I think just having really clear deliverables and having no grey areas with your suppliers and being able to have direct conversations with them because you've got those personal relationships is a really important aspect of it. You have to have a team of people that share your vision and share your kind of way of doing things.
What do you look for to make sure that people are aligned to your vision and they're not just saying what you want to hear?
That's a really good question. I think the proof's in the pudding. People can talk their way through interviews. I feel like one of my biggest strengths is I can get a good read of a person quite quickly. So from a recruitment perspective, and maybe you shouldn't say this publicly, but I know within 30 seconds of an interview whether someone's genuine, authentic. You don't always get it right, but I think recruitment is it's a gut feel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because people can lie on their CVs, people can bullshit their way through interviews, but if you can look someone in the eye and get a good feeling about them, anyone can learn the job, anyone can learn a business. It's more about their personality. That's how we recruit.
But if you had like a magic wand and you could change the whole recruitment process, what would you do for it? What would be the outline?
If you're smart enough, you'll learn the job. So for me, it's more taking that process element out of it and just getting face-to-face conversations, building relationships with people, and looking at me like, are you going to, perhaps it's a bit over the top, but it's our sporting background, but we say internally, like, would this person go to war for us? Like, would this person really get stuck in the trenches in Australia when it's tough, an event's just gone wrong, there's loads of issues, we've got customers banging the door, whatever it might be. Do we trust that this person's going to have our back and really stick with the business and follow through our principles of doing what we said we're going to do? Because all the rest of it, how many A-levels you got, GCSEs, all these projects, it's nonsense, because at the end of the day, you need the people skills to work your way through any business. So as impossible it might be to interview 1,000 people if you're in a FTSE 100 company, that's definitely how we go about it.
I've got one last thing to ask you before our closing tradition, and I want to take you back to 1 hour before the Ashes tickets went on sale, and I believe you got stuck in a lift. What was that like? That must have been the most stressful moment ever.
Yeah, so not me personally. So there was probably a huge project. So we've gone to Manchester. We stayed in Manchester the night before, and we've met for breakfast, and then we've made our way to the office. Chris and I, we said, right, you guys go and get set up. This is about an hour and a half before. You guys go and get set up, get logged in, get ready to take the calls, get ready for the online launch. We send a WhatsApp message from Cafe Nero saying, hi guys, just remind us what your coffee orders are, please stick it in the chat. Somebody replies saying, we're stuck in a lift. Like, we clearly think they're joking, because this is the biggest day in our careers and our business history. So we just say, no, come on, what are the coffee orders? Then we get a selfie from, I think there's 8 of them stuck in this lift, all sweating, condensation on the mirrors because they've been in there half an hour already. And we just couldn't believe our luck. And as the minutes counted down towards that 9 a.m. launch, Chris and I realised we're the only 2 people not stuck in the lift, and we're the only 2 people that don't know how to work the systems and don't know how to like put a booking through the website, whatever it might be. The lift engineer arrived at 9 o'clock and got them out an hour and a half after they'd been in there, just on time for the launch. They sprinted up. They were all sweating there. Some of them had PTSD from like the experience, because they, it's not nice being stuck in a lift, let alone for that long in that heat. Straight on the phones, non-stop for like 7-8 hours for the rest of the day without any break. We should have had a crisis plan for who's going to take over if there's someone stuck in the lift. And actually, that did lead to us coming up with this, what we call a risk register. Yeah, you take some learnings from it, but it was pretty stressful. Yeah.
Take some learnings. I'll take the stairs next time.
Yeah,
mate.
well, exactly. Exactly.
Adam, we have a closing tradition on this podcast, which is where the guest, regardless of who they are, answers this one question. And that is, what is one message that you've never sent, but you wish everyone would receive?
I think just look after each other. I try and say that, to my rugby club, my mates, people internally at work. I think, you don't know what's going on in someone's world, so just try and give them the benefit of doubt. Try and be positive. Try and light up someone's day if you can, and look after each other as much as you can.
Well, with this bucket hat, you've lit up my day, I must say. Thank you so much for your time, Adam. Really appreciate it, and best of luck for the Ashes.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate.